Hello and welcome to Good Game, the show for gamers, by gamers. I'm Junglist.
And I'm Bajo. Expect lots of reviews this week, more of what you asked for.
That's right, Final Fantasy III has made its way onto the DS, and Socom for the PSP is bringing Navy SEALs to public transport. But first, here's gamer news.
Developers of the upcoming Tom Clancy RTS game End War have released the first vision from the game. In an interview with Xbox World, Aussie Michael de Platner, the creative director of the game, said that it would include new features, such as a worldwide overall campaign, where each and every player will affect the outcome of the war as a whole. The front line will move forward or back according to whether the player wins or loses. Voice control of units is also planned. End War is being developed for the 360 and the PS3 in Shanghai, China, and is due for release in about a year's time.
Blizzard Entertainment have ended months of speculation by announcing officially they're in production of StarCraft 2, nearly 10 years after the first StarCraft. The game will be released simultaneously across the globe in multiple languages, and is for PCs only with no plans for console ports. System requirements have not been released, except that the game will be compatible with Windows Vista and XP, and will be released for the Mac at the same time. The release date is still to be confirmed. The announcement was made at Blizzard's Worldwide Invitational held in Korea, the home of competitive StarCraft play.
Sky Sports Extra in the United Kingdom has purchased the rights from Valve Software to broadcast Counter-Strike tournaments. Details of which tournaments will be televised have still to be confirmed, but it's expected to be the Championship Gaming Series, who have already announced their intention to broadcast top matches.
French publisher Ubisoft are set to expand their casual games business by forming a new internal development team dedicated to the creation of games for everyone. The first games announced are My Word Coach, which aims to build players' vocabulary, and My Life Coach, which is designed to give the player enough willpower to cure bad habits. The game is being developed with the help of a behaviorist. The games are due for release on the Nintendo DS at Christmas.
Okay, John, it's Guess the Game time again, and this time I prepared you some choice quotes. Never give up, trust your instincts. It's quiet, too quiet. Use bombs wisely. Any idea?
Barrel roll?
Do a barrel roll! Answer at the end of the show.
There's been no shortage of big money, big ticket movie game combos this year. Ninja Turtles, Meet the Robinsons,
And Spider-Man 3, of course.
and now Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End has landed on a shore near you.
Jeff Blattner is the producer of the multi-platform game. He's based in England but was in Australia recently. We caught up with him.
Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End is the game that we've been making for the last 2 years. We started this before Dead Man's Chest came out, and we actually have content from both Dead Man's Chest and at World's End in the game. Our developer Eurocom has a proprietary mobile high-resolution facial scanning technology, so we went down and did facial scans of Johnny Depp and Keira Knightley, Orlando Bloom, and all the cast members you'd expect. And we tried to use the voice recordings of as many of the characters as possible. I don't know if you're familiar with the theme park ride that kicked it all off, but on the theme park ride there is a song that plays continuously throughout the ride, Yo Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me. And during the voice recording sessions, Mackenzie Crook, who plays Rigetti, claimed not to know the tune, so he made me do a duet with him, so that was great fun as well.
Anchor up, Mr. Gibbs. Make sail. Lower the jib. All the customary activities.
Destination, Captain?
I hear Tortuga is present this time of year.
This franchise has been huge. Second only in worldwide box office to Titanic and Lord of the Rings. So we've really worked with the full force of the Walt Disney Company behind us to try to deliver the right experience of being Jack Sparrow and being the greatest pirate you can be and delivering the full film experience, because, you know, the last games have been a bit of a disappointment. So this is the first game that the Walt Disney Company has developed from scratch and really with all of its resources. So we have got the exact replica models of the Black Pearl and the Flying Dutchman. We've done hours and hours of motion capture with a guy who makes his living moving like Jack Sparrow to get the Jack Sparrow swagger just right. Done endless hours of gameplay testing and just really tried to put you in the film. Well, we actually had a large number of people working on the game at our developer Eurocom in Derby, and we wanted to make sure that the experience was delivered to the platform appropriately. The experience is optimized, and we didn't really want to give the glamour of the Xbox 360 priority over kind of the unique gameplay features of the Wii. So early on we split it out into two teams, one working on high technology, new technology, Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and another working on the other platforms, Wii, PlayStation 2, PSP, and PC. So that each experience could be optimized and separate, so that you never had to worry about pulling resources from one and putting them on the other. The challenges also that we faced therein were, for Wii, were just getting the user interface right, making it simple and feel good, making the Wii remote and nunchuck work seamlessly and intuitively for the user, and delivering a simple interface but that felt good, where the sword slashes were easy to accomplish and pull off, but not too simplistic or not so that they felt too repetitive.
Well, there you have it from Jeff Blattner and Yo-Ho-Ho. He wasn't kidding. Disney have definitely pulled out all the stops to get their weight behind this on each platform, and it looks nice.
And it's different on each platform as well. Take dueling, for example. On the 360 version, you attack and defend by using the directional keys. On the DS version, you use the stylus to slash your opponent as you would with a normal sword. And on the Wii, obviously, you use the Wiimote to slash.
It's good to see that they embraced each console's individual strengths. We reviewed the 360 version. How did you find it, John?
Well, for a multi-platform title, I was really impressed with the graphics on this one. The details and the shadows on people's clothes, facial accuracy, reflections, water running down rocks, it was all really good.
One thing it does do well is set a good atmosphere. Levels are often quite detailed, and every person you pass by has something to say. A good pirate atmosphere is a wonderful thing.
Jeff pointed out as well, the original cast did a lot of the voice acting, which really helped it. The game follows the main plot of the second and third movies, but the details are different. The original soundtrack is in there as well, which is great. I even let the score thing run for a while just to listen to the music.
But was it any fun?
As far as game design goes, it's as basic as it gets. There's lots of walking across beams and ledges, one button-mashing sword fights, and running up and down town to make sure you collected a bunch of items. Linearity in a 3D platformer such as this means that you're constantly running back to make sure you collected that last item that you missed.
And walking across beams was more of a camera balancing act than anything else. Occasionally, you'll need to duel, and the 360 does this with the directional buttons to attack and defend, and occasionally requires quick reflexes.
It was too slow-paced, and it failed to capture the intensity of a duel, in my opinion. The combat really killed it for me.
Yeah, usually you're fighting a large group of enemies that can all be taken out with copious use of the A button.
It's worse than button mashing. It's button mashing with one button.
All enemies die to this rapid A button technique, except for some mini-bosses which require you to use A button and left trigger.
Whoa, 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 slow down there, Tiger. One button at a time. You also have the option occasionally to throw daggers and use super moves and counterattacks.
Yeah, there's no real incentive to do this though. Fast forward to later in the game and you're still using A as the I win button.
I'm confused as to why they even included a run button. I mean, you're running for pretty much the whole game. It should have been a walk button.
And generally the acrobatics all the way through are pretty simple. Final thoughts, John?
The movie carries this game so hard it hurts my back. If we were to rate it on design alone, discounting the movie's characters and settings and music, we'd give it a 2. But as it stands, the money behind this game ensures that it looks and sounds great. It's the gameplay that sends it to a watery grave. I'm giving it 4 out of 10 scallywag chickens.
It's a classic case of graphics versus gameplay. We saw 1 or 2 hints of good puzzles, but really the poor game design bottlenecks the fun. I'm not as harsh as Joe. It's got pretty good graphics and sound effects. I'm going for 6 out of 10. You know, John, I wish I could use the Wiimote to play Half-Life. I'd be like, pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it would be cool, but the Wiimotes for the Wii?
Not so, guys. You know, you can actually use it as a normal computer controller. All you need is a USB Bluetooth dongle, which you can get from most computer stores for around $15 to $20. To connect the Wiimote to your computer, you use the Bluetooth driver stack. To get it to detect, you'll need to put the Wiimote in discovery mode by pushing the 1 and 2 key, which starts the LEDs flashing, and search for devices. The Nintendo RVL CNT will show up. You just connect the Wiimote to the computer like you would with a normal Bluetooth device. Then you need a program called GlovePie. Now GlovePie is a free program that's downloadable on the internet, specifically designed for helping the Wii to work with the computer. Go File Open, open up the test Wiimote sample, and just click Run. Provided you've got the sensor bar set up, it should work just fine. Have fun.
That's cool with the clicking
And the waving.
and the glaive
And the shooting and the blade.
And the winner for this week's forum review is...
Final Fantasy fans are used to their regular dose of gameage, and this year's no exception. What with Final Fantasy XII being released on the PS2, and the expansion to the online Final Fantasy XI being announced.
And now Final Fantasy hits the Nintendo DS. Final Fantasy III.
An old game reborn?
Indeedy. It was first released in Japan in 1990 and never made it outside Japan, so it's new-ish, kinda.
This is familiar RPG territory. You play as the Chosen One, Zomg no way. Raised by the elders of a village, parents unknown, you bump into a crystal that tells you it's your job to save the world.
It's funny how crystals never ask you to take out the garbage. Crystals are weird.
Yeah, crystals are weird. Key elements such as storyline, job, and combat systems are retained, while the graphics have been given a massive overhaul since the original Famicom version 17 years ago.
How did you find the combat system?
It's turn-based, so by today's standards it's pretty slow, but in the case of Final Fantasy III it enables some pretty complex tactics. I'd say stick with it. It takes a while to get your head around it, but there is depth there, so persevere.
Yeah, I'd agree, especially as you're often fighting a party of 4 members, and each one of these has their own special jobs and skills, and if you played any Final Fantasy, you know what I'm talking about.
Mages, thieves, bards, monks.
Yeah, and it's how you combine these jobs and skills that's the beauty and the challenge of the game.
The spells that you can use are limited by your magic points. You can only recharge these in town, so use them wisely.
But it's a hell of a lot of playtime to get your job skills up to use these better attacks.
Which brings me to my big gripe. No hit points on the monsters, especially in the early game. I mean, you have no idea whether you're wasting your fire attack or whether a simple blizzard would have done.
The story is completely linear, which is fine for this type of game. There's lots of opportunity for you to go and explore every nook and cranny for extra stuff. It's a classic, you know, when you hit a cutscene, you know you're going in the right direction.
Story characters will join in your quest and occasionally help out in the combat, although you have no control over when this happens.
And you have no control over who you're fighting most of the time, and most combat situations are thrown on you randomly.
Yeah, and this gets a bit boring. I mean, the option to run away doesn't really save you if you're running back from a boss fight with low HP and low mana points. You can't save in a dungeon, so if you get owned, you get owned. A little tip from me, stock up on potions.
Final thoughts, John?
MMO players will be able to see the building blocks of their game represented here. It's like stepping into a time machine. I must say I'm enjoying having such a meaty game on my DS. I can spend many more hours in this game. I'm giving it 8.5 rubber chickens.
Turn-based combat is a little bit slow for my twitchy fingers. I'm not a Final Fantasy devotee, but having said that, I can appreciate the time and effort they've gone into making this old game look new, and I wish other franchises would do the same. I'm giving it 7 out of 10 chookies. And nice hat you had there, John. Ultimate Showdown is upon us, Jung, and this time we close our eyes and open our ears.
Music can make or break a game, and now that composers are no longer limited to cartridge memory, it's become a huge part of the development process.
Old school games could sometimes only play about 3 notes at once, and yet some of these tunes are still our favourites, and they remind us of games we loved and levels we played. On the flip side, really bad music in a game drives us crazy, like, I'm looking at you, Alex Kidd.
So we hit the forums to figure out what were your favorites.
Starting with some old games, Duke Nukem 3D had some rocking tunes. I must admit, I got a bit nerdy and unpacked those into my MIDI playlist.
Hail to the king, baby. And what about Tetris? You could not ride a bus back in the day without hearing that theme pumping from a Game Boy.
Tipmeister I was a fan of the Command & Conquer and Red Alert themes. In fact, Command & Conquer 3 had some pretty rocking tunes, and there's nothing like a heavy guitar when you're rolling out a bunch of tanks.
Pin them down!
Reinforcements have arrived.
Speaking of heavy guitar, Guitar Hero and SingStar were all about the music.
Winter 7 reminded me of an old favourite, Rock and Roll Racing. Only had about 5 tunes, but I could hum every one of them.
Forum goer Rafflecopter thought Halo's themes deserved a mention, as did Final Fantasy.
Joker58 fondly recalls Neverwinter Nights tunes.
Chrono Trigger got a few posts as well. It seems MIDI is really owning this one.
Well, let's pump it up with GTA Vice City Stories. In fact, most of the GTAs had pretty interesting radio station emulation.
Yeah, it was good being able to change the channel if you didn't like the song. In fact, even though it was a GTA clone, Saints Row had some really good underground hip-hop tracks.
Making some noise down in Saints Row, from the old school and today.
Well, there's so many different games we could mention. Battlefield, Doom, Wipeout, Skitchin. It's time to go to the awards.
First up, for Best Adaptive Music, with Lumines a close second, the Golden Ruffle goes to Shadow of the Colossus. The use of triggers and emotive music was technically awesome.
For Best Original Score, Zelda Ocarina of Time. There was just so much music in this game. Each character had their own theme, so for sheer volume of original music, Zelda owns this Golden Ruffle.
And our final Golden Ruffle, for Best MIDI Theme, just has to go to perhaps the most iconic and recognizable character of all, our little plumber, Mario. It's true, you know, I can't remember a single theme from Sonic, Badger, but Mario will always be stuck in my head.
It's like the national anthem for gamers. It's even recognized by non-gamers.
Are there some?
Apparently.
My name's Richard Farkas, and I'm on your TVs stealing your airtime. Of all the gaming genres, real-time strategy, or RTS as they're more commonly known, are the most brain-intensive games out there. The aim is to outplay, outwit, and outlast your opponent by gathering enough resources to build an army to take them down. Tonight, we're joined by Mr. Timothy M. Buriam, a professional RTS gamer.
Please, call me Tim.
Okay, Tim. Now what's with the M?
Micro is my middle name.
I see. So, Tim, why do you choose to play RTS?
I knew you were going to ask that, Richard, so I took the liberty of preparing this counter-response. I play RTS because it's the genre of the intellectual.
I see.
Unlike brutish genres like first-person shooters.
Brain, woo!
We actually have an aspect of strategy and planning, instead of running around like a moron, relying on that of hormones and reaction time. And don't even get me started on MMOs.
Interesting. Would you say that your skills in RTS could be applied to your everyday life?
Ah, the Botticelli line of questioning. I find your build order for an interview intriguing. Of course. Just recently, I was in correspondence with our world leaders.
Sup, world leaders. You guys are big noobs. Your strategies have too many weak points, and you've got no exit plans. Seriously, learn to play, guys. Yours truly, Timus Tapone Engine.
Fascinating. So, Tim, how would you handle someone online who's less experienced?
Well, the thing I notice about noobs is that when they play, they tend to think of RTS as, well, SimCity. They're all, ooh, I'm gonna build a pretty little base, and I'm all, thanks, coming through. It's normally a quick defeat after that.
So, how do you
I feel that it lacks strategic value.
Wait, what? I didn't... How did you...
By carefully strategizing, I was able to foresee your attack. Question.
You were looking at my teleprompter, weren't you?
Yeah.
La la la, so you think you can't game. Have you ever done something so stupid, so wrong that you wish you could just cancel out of your life? Well, I can't help you, but something else I can help you with is animation cancelling. So this week we're going to have a look at animation cancelling in Dota, also known as Defense of the Ancients. It's a custom map for Warcraft 3 which has soared to popularity over the last few years due to its large competitive scene. So what is animation cancelling? Well, often heroes when they're attacking or casting spells will have a fancy animation to go with it. The problem is though, that when they finish attacking or casting that spell, they'll keep on doing the song or dance, and that wastes a lot of time. An example of this is when you're chasing after an enemy hero. Every time that you attack, you'll stop, allowing him to run away. So cancel the unnecessary animation. As soon as your hero has finished attacking or casting a spell, issue another command like move, and your hero should respond immediately. This way you'll be able to keep up with retreating heroes, or chain together some nasty attacks. And now for my challenge for this week. A lot of heroes have good pairings in Dota. For example, if you combine Tiny and Techies, you can pick up the Techies, throw them at enemies, and he can suicide straight away. It's called a Goblin Grenade. Tell me the best hero combinations that you can come up with and post them on the forums. Until next week, this is Aya out.
Good game.
Okay, team. The enemy has retaken the airport. We need you to get in there and keep the guys friendly. You'll need to move quickly. Bombs have been placed and we need to disarm them right away.
Tiny tactics are the order of the day as Socom Fireteam Bravo 2 hits the PSP.
First-person shooters are pretty hard to translate onto handhelds, but once you get used to the camera tracking and the auto-aiming, Socom succeeds.
You are the Navy SEALs Sandman. Ajakistan needs your help, and it pays to be professional about the way you give it. Your actions around civilians directly affect the rewards in-game.
Base, this is Eagle 3. We have the package.
The game takes you on a variety of branching missions with multiple objectives, ranging from destroying AA guns to rescuing hostages and photographing evidence.
This doesn't sound promising, Sandman. Send up a few photos and keep an eye out for any other evidence of abuse you may encounter.
It's pretty fun, and once you complete a mission, you can play that level again with different objectives. This gives you opportunities to get new weapons, intel, supply drops, and airstrikes.
The music is the first thing I noticed, Jung. It's very cinematic. You can also kit up yourself and your teammate to go in stealthy or come out guns a-blazing.
There's a light meter showing your visibility, and the type of teammate that you choose affects how you approach each mission.
Oh yeah!
Single-player missions unlock a variety of textures, including a cool ninja costume.
Hang on, ninjas can't have guns, Bajo.
I noticed, what's the deal? Game Sharing only uploads a demo. We really wanted to try out multiplayer for this one, but at the time of recording, there were no servers up.
For every mission, there's a few different routes that you can take, but overall, it's very linear. This can get frustrating when you need to backtrack just to get some intel. Enemies wander around and take different positions. They display good AI when taking cover, and sometimes they even jump through windows.
There is the odd occasion where you appear to shoot the gun out of your opponent's hand. They kind of shake their fists at you like this.
Yeah, it happens often, and it's pretty disillusioning. We're not even sure if they did that on purpose or not.
Also, sometimes your comments from your teammate are a little bit delayed, which is a bit funny if they're talking about the guy you've already smoked and you're already in the new area.
Yeah, he's a little slow on the uptake and stuff.
Enemy movement. They've opened fire, sir.
You can link the PS2 game Socom Combined Assault to this PSP title using the crosstalk feature. This allows you to unlock new content and also coordinate between the two teams. Generally, it's a pretty solid title on the PSP. Smooth loading and smooth graphics make it pretty fun.
I found with Socom you really had to concentrate and take careful aim. I mean, it's going to be a pretty hard game to play if you're on the bus or something like that. Gamers on the go, you might want to take that into consideration. But overall, I'm giving it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, I really like it. I'm giving it 8.5. Well, gamers, did you guess the game that spawned those classic lines? It was Lilac Wars on the Nintendo 64.
Released to Western audiences in 1997, it was second in sales that year, only to Mario Kart, also for the 64.
And it gave us the much-desired ability to dogfight in multiplayer. You know, they were harsh on us back in those days, John. Once you ran out of lives, that was it. Game over.
Yeah, I like that, though. That's it for this week, gamers. Next week, we're jam-packed with reviews again, including Lord of the Rings Online and Def Jam Icon.
Fight!
And we take on the Nerds FC in a massive Ruffle Cup Olympics. Can Good Game out-nerd the nerds?
Be sure to jump on our forums as well and download the vodcast for your mates. Till next time, gamers, Junglist out.
Bajo out.